Hello and welcome to Real Voices of Happy Valley with Viv and Dave. In this episode, we talk to Julie Thorpe, the manager at Todmorden Learning Centre Hub, otherwise still known as Todd College. Everybody says it. Julie's fantastic and enthusiastic and tells us all about what happens at the college. Since moving to Todd, Dave and I have joked that the local catchphrase is Todd says no, but sometimes
cycle lanes and all kinds of
to all kinds of things. But in this case, Todd said no to demolishing a college that had been there since the mid-50s and to banks closing. So well done, Todd, because you said no. That's one of the reasons this thriving place is up and running and doing brilliantly. Hello and welcome to Real Voices of Happy Valley. And today we're talking to Julie Thorpe, who is the CEO stroke manager of the Todmorden Learning Centre. Hello, Julie.
Hi Viv.
So everyone knows it as Todd College, I think.
Absolutely. The building has always just been known as Todd College, and now it's run by an organisation called Todmorden Learning Centre and Community Hub. But that's such a mouthful. We know nobody will ever call it that, so we still carry on calling it Todd College.
Most people in the valley have heard of Todd College. They don't necessarily come here or know what goes on. So can you describe it in your words?
Yeah, well, it's a lovely old building that was built in 1955, and lots of people in Todmorden came here to do vocational training courses in the main and adult education classes for many years. And there were workshops for car mechanics, woodwork, metalwork, spaces to learn cookery and textile and crafts and so on. But after probably the 70s, adult education started to change. FE moved out more to the bigger colleges in Burnley, Rochdale, Halifax. And the building sort of moved into its next lease of life, where it had a little bit of adult education going on, but it also had lots of other council services being run from here. And then fast forward another 30 years, and really all that was left were various council services and a very small handful of classes run by Calderdale Adult Learning. There was a Sure Start centre, which has now become the family hub. There were council officers, social services based here, a youth club, the town council offices were here and so on. But it's quite a sprawling building, and Calderdale Council were having to look at how they make best use of the spaces that they have. And they really felt they couldn't afford to run the building any longer because it's not a very energy efficient building, so very expensive to run. And they were going to knock it down, sell the site off, which would probably have gone to Aldi because they'd just bought the site next door and they wanted a bigger car park. Because everybody knows that Todmorden needs more supermarkets with more bigger car parks, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So, well, that was all very well, but people locally said, hang on a minute, we've been using that building for the last nearly 70 years, and we think it's a really good community resource and could be a really good space for us to carry on using. So they started a campaign to saved it from demolition, persuaded the council to hand it over on an asset transfer to Todmorden Learning Centre and Community Somerton Learning Centre and Community Hub.
Even you can't say it very
Even I can't say it, which is a community benefit society. That's a form of cooperative. So it's run by its members. Anybody locally can join.
Yeah.
You join as a one-off. It's not an annual subscription. You just pay up to £10 once, and you become a member, and then you can have a say in the running of the place. And so it was that Community Benefit Society that persuaded the council to hand over the building. We've got a 125-year lease on a peppercorn rent. We do have to. We can't go and sell it off. We can't borrow money against it. There's lots of restrictions on what we can do with it. We're limited to doing the things that we've said we're going to do in our constitution, and those include providing a space for the community to undertake a whole range of activities, but also to provide education around climate, around the climate emergency, and particularly looking towards the future green economy and what the sorts of skills that people are going to need in the future green economy. So we've got that focus, which was something the founding members really wanted to do. But that's set in the context of something which is there's something here for everybody in the community.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I came in to the makery with a coat that I bought that was very cheap but really good quality in a vintage shop. And I said, do you think you could take the sleeves up for me? Because it's massive. And move the buttons over to help it. And they said, well, we could, but we'd rather you did, and we'll show you how.
Yes. Well, give a man a fish and you feed them for a day, and teach them to fish, teach you how to do those alterations and repairs yourself, and then you don't have to come back again.
Yes. So that was nice. That was a good. And I've just been looking now at the ukulele classes because I've got a ukulele and it's at the top of the wardrobe gathering dust, so I really need to learn how to play this. So that's
those are just two lovely examples of some of the things that are happening here. The things that happen here depend on what local people want to make happen here. We run a few of the activities, but most of them are just what other people from the community have decided they want to do. They may have a skill that they want to share with other people, or they may have a group that already exists and they need a space to meet and do things together. The makery was something new for Todmorden when we opened the building, and it's a fabulous creative space where people can make things, mend things, repurpose things, recycle things. And there are lots of different sessions. So there's a textiles session, an electronics session, woodwork. There's a men in sheds group and a women in workshops group that run through the makery. And it's very much about skills for a sustainable future, to get away from being from the sort of consumer nature of the world that we live in at the moment, and start not throwing so much stuff away. And
you need younger people to learn from their dads, uncles, mums, aunties, whatever, don't you? Passing those skills down.
That's one of the things I like about it. And I've experienced that at other community centres. It's not just about learning skills, it's about sharing skills.
Very much
and
so.
Very much. If people have developed skills over the years, particularly if they've earned a living out of it, they don't want to just stop.
No. And we're so lucky that there are so many people with skills in Todmorden who are prepared to share them and come and spend some time down here, whether it's in the makery or whether it's running an art class or organising the Antiquarian Society or lots of U3A, which is a big group in Todmorden, the University of the Third Age. They have lots of different groups that meet. They're pretty much self-organised, but they do have other people who come in to run things for them sometimes. But they have things like creative writing and photography and novel appreciation and wine appreciation. They have a wine appreciation group. I need to retire and join that, I think. But yes, so all these groups are things that people in Todmorden wanted to do. We had a group of young women who were looking for somewhere to roller skate in the winter. They said that we can do it outside in the summer, but in the winter, we don't want to give up when the nights are dark and it's raining. So they booked our hall, just a self-organised group, and they once a week they have a roller disco. We've got a table tennis on Tuesday morning, and that's so popular. The hall's full of people playing table tennis.
That's lovely.
So it's just such a mix. We've got one of the latest things to start up was a clog dancing class.
Welsh clog dancing.
Welsh clog dancing, absolutely.
I
yes,
didn't know it was any different from other clog dancing.
No. We still have the family hub here, so a lot of people come to the building to bring their children to nursery or to come to play groups or to come to parenting classes, that kind of thing. And another important service that joined us just coming up to a year ago was the banking hub.
Yes, I can see it from where we're sitting,
So,
with all the banks closing.
All the banks closed. No banks in Todmorden, no banks in Hebden anymore. It's a trek to go to a bank, and not everybody either wants to or can do their banking online. So Todmorden Town Council applied there's an organisation called Cash Access UK, which exists to provide banking facilities in communities where there aren't any anymore. And they came along and they wanted somewhere in town where they would get a good footfall of people, and it would be a place that was known by people and easily found. So we've provided them with a space. And they have a post office counter where you can do all your cash transactions, so you can pay cash in and withdraw cash. But on each day of the week, there's a different representative from a different bank here.
Right.
So if you bank with Lloyds Bank, for example, they're here on a Tuesday. If you bank with Halifax, they're Wednesday, and so on. So that yes, you can find out on our website which bank's here on which day.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
What is the website?
The website is that's important. It's TLCHUB, so tlchub.org.uk. And
we'll put that in the introduction as well, and the text that goes with this.
Well, on there, people can find a What's On guide, which gives you everything that's happening that's open to the public in the building, and the contact details. So if you want to join one of the groups, you should be able to find their contact details on there. If not, you can always contact our reception and we'll help you. Yes, that's where all the information is. We also have for people who are on Facebook, we post lots of information about the activities that are happening here on Facebook. So you can follow if you search for Todd College, you'll find us on Facebook as well and give us a follow there.
Yeah, that's great. So how long have you been in this post? And what were you doing before? What's your background?
Oh, right. Well, I joined Todmorden Learning Centre and Community Hub about 2 years before we actually got the building.
Right.
They were looking for a project manager to help with the asset transfer process, because there was a lot of negotiation with the council and a lot of ducks to get lined up ready to take over the building. And it was supposed to be a job for about 3 months.
Right. Yeah.
So that was back in 2019, 2020 perhaps, and I'm still here now. The next thing that happened before the council handed over the building, we had floods in February of 2020, and then we had COVID. So the asset transfer got delayed. And in that time, I carried on my involvement, and I did some fundraising during COVID, which came in useful when on the 31st of March 2021, we got the keys from the council.
I didn't realise it was so recent. I sort of had it in my mind that it was years before that, you know. But it's only like 4 years ago.
4
isn't it?
years, I know. It feels like a lifetime.
I bet it does.
But only in a positive way, in that we've done so much already.
Maybe that's why I thought you'd been going longer, because there's so much going on.
Well, before that, I'd been a project manager in education and youth work and community work in various different contexts. I'd done quite a lot of work with cooperatives, so I had a good strong background in cooperative governance. I used to work at the Cooperative College. I was their lead on school and youth programmes there. And I worked for a youth organisation called the Woodcraft Folk, which lots of people in Hebden...
You worked for the Woodcraft Folk?
I worked for the Woodcraft Folk on various projects, as well as having been a volunteer leader for a long time as well. So yes, I know the community of the Valley, but I've also got experience from community education and project management elsewhere as well. So somebody sent me the advert and said, I think this is up your street.
Yeah, well, it sounds like
yes.
meeting and all those things.
So when we eventually got the asset transfer, and the day the council handed over the keys, basically they gave us all the keys to this building in a bucket. We spent the next week sorting them all out, finding out which door they fitted. I have to say, we did sort of... We had a few moments of, oh heavens, what on earth have we done? What have we taken on here? But since then, we haven't had time to stop and have any regrets, because we've just been too busy. And one of the things we were so lucky with was that happened around the same time as Todmorden was awarded some money from the Towns Fund, which was part of the last government's levelling up monies. And Todmorden was lucky enough to get £17.5 million to improve facilities in the community. And we didn't get all 17.5 million, I'm afraid, but we did get a nice little chunk from that, which has helped us to really improve the building. And we've been focusing on making it more energy efficient. We've still got quite a long way to go to really reduce the energy bills, which, I mean, really spiked after we'd got the building, and, you know, we got to the point where we hardly dare turn the heating on because gas had become so expensive.
That was just the time when energy costs went through the roof, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was absolutely terrifying. But we've put lots of insulation in to the walls and ceilings. There's still some further work to do on that. We've replaced all the lighting throughout the building with LED lighting. We have got a heating control system now, which probably doesn't save as much, but it does help us to control which bits of the building are being heated when. So If people book a room here for an activity, they should come in and find that the heating's been on before they arrive. And not only that, but it should go off again after they leave, which saves a lot of time for our staff having to run round and turn radiators on and off. We have put a very big array of solar panels on the roof of the building, both solar PV that generate electricity and also solar thermal that help to heat the water that we use in the building. We've got some battery storage up there. All of that just came on stream this summer, and we were certainly generating lots of electricity during the summer. I have to say October has been very, very grey. It's been that lovely shade of Calderdale grey that that we all gives us seasonal adjustment disorder. It's not going to be so great through the winter, but it will still help. It will still make a bit of difference. And one of the great things that we've been able to do is we've been able to do some of the insulation work ourselves, running courses to teach people locally how to do insulation, particularly on older buildings.
Which is great because you can do it here.
Absolutely, they can do it in their own homes, and there's a huge potential. Retrofit is a really important measure that we need to start working towards to reduce our climate emissions.
So just explain retrofit.
So retrofit is looking at the ways you can make your home more energy efficient, so that you're using less fossil fuels to heat it. But it's partly about climate change, but it also makes people's homes warmer, cheaper to heat, and healthier for people who may not at the moment not be able to afford to turn their heating on, and particularly for older people who are living in damp, cold houses that they aren't able to heat properly, and for young families as well. Over the coming years, there's going to be quite a lot of investment in helping people to improve the energy efficiency of their homes. So it might be loft insulation, it might be insulation under your floors, it might be insulation of your walls. And then once you've got, and replacing windows, draft proofing. Once you've got your house well insulated, then you can also look at changing the heating system, possibly to something like an air source heat pump, which runs off electricity but very efficiently, and that can help to reduce heating bills. But if it's running from renewable electricity, it also really helps with greenhouse gas emissions as well. So it's win-win. It's good for people and it's good for the planet. But lots of building companies locally don't really know how to do it very well, or they know what the general principles are. But in the Calder Valley, we've got a lot of older properties built before 1919, solid stone wall buildings, and they need a different approach to retrofitting them. If you're going to start insulating solid stone wall properties, you need to know about using the right materials and the right techniques. And that's what we're trying to teach people here through the courses that we're running. So the great thing is that the things that you need to use are natural materials, which are also good for the planet. They're renewable in themselves, they're recyclable, they lock in carbon. So if you're using materials like wood fibre board, then you're actually reducing the carbon emissions of the process that you're doing. Lime pointing and lime plastering, lime rendering, really important to allow breathability in stone buildings. So there's a lot more to that, but we're trying to teach people those skills so that they can be used in the community here. And we've been able to use the building as a live project. So round the alley between us and Aldi, you can see what students on our courses have actually done to help insulate the building. So that's been, such a wonderful thing to see happening.
Everything you just said says Barbara Jones.
Well, Barbara Jones.
I'm sure it's not just her.
It isn't just her, but Barbara Jones has been one of the really dynamic movers and shakers behind Todmorden Learning Centre. She's currently chair of our board, but she also, through the School of Natural Building, helps to deliver some of those courses. And we are so lucky that Todmorden has got people. The Barbara Joneses, the Mary Clears, the Pam Warhursts, the Nick Greens of the Upper Valley.
Absolutely,
it was part of their vision to make this place somewhere that that really wasn't just a community centre. It represented everything that's really special about Todmorden.
Well, it's that mixture of visionary and down to earth, isn't it? That really seems to sum up
Practicality.
Yeah. Well, we want young people in the Upper Valley. Lots of young people will go away to university, and they might gravitate back here. I think a lot of them these days do, because the quality of life here is maybe rather nicer than living in Manchester or Leeds or somewhere. But it's not. But there are also a lot of young people who don't leave the valley, and they need to have a future, and they need to have good jobs here in the future. And those jobs need to be not just good in terms of generating an income for people, but they need to be good in terms of what they do for the local economy and the local environment. We'll want to be able to offer people training in construction, in land management and farming, in energy and so on, that will lead to jobs locally, that will contribute to the future sustainability of the Upper Valley.
It sounds like the college is helping the area have a very sustainable future. And the people you've mentioned and yourself, and a lot of people you haven't mentioned, I'm sure, collectively make it for a very strong community.
And I know you yourself paint.
I have a real interest in art, and so one of the things I love about this job is being able to facilitate other people doing creative things, and that ranges from the textiles things that happen in the makery. We've been able to run some sewing classes here, painting, disability support had a lovely art club that ran here for some time. It's been fantastic to be able to provide spaces for more creative activity. Lots of creative people in the Upper Valley love coming back here, because there are a huge number of people who did their art foundation course when it was when it was still called a college here. And there is such a strong artistic community that's fantastic. But I care about the whole community, and I think one of the things, we've got a focus on climate here, but we've also got a focus through what we're trying to do for the community on social justice, and I think those two things are so intertwined. What's the point of saving the environment, saving the planet for the future, if it isn't a fair future for all the people who live in it? And so I'm also pleased that we have things like Todmorden's Food Bank here, that we have the banking hub, which helps people who, are financially excluded and digitally excluded. That we run an English cafe and ESOL classes, which have been very, very much appreciated by the Ukrainian refugees who've moved to the area. We have some lovely volunteers who come and help people learn and improve their English on a Saturday. So it's all those things as well. And the thing that really is important to me is how those things all link together. And it all gets summed up in the Todmorden kindness slogan, and we've got one of the kindness signs on our corridor wall out here, because you can't have just one bit of it without the rest, and I think we try and show that through what we're doing here.
Yeah. Well, that's been great. Thanks, Julie. It's really interesting.
Yes, and more power to your elbow.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. I mean, I do hope that if people haven't been to the college, have a look and see what's on here and see if there's something you fancy coming to do. Or just wander into reception and have a chat with one of our lovely volunteer receptionists, and they'll give you a printed copy of our What's On guide if you don't like using the internet. And you can, come and just have a little look around and see what there is, because we think there's something for everyone. And if you want somewhere to make friends, meet up socially and so on, there's so much happening here. And you'll be very, very welcome.
It is a very welcoming place. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, thanks.